Okay, so welcome guys. Today I'm joined by Elena Pastore, right? She's going to discuss with us how career and leadership affects personal development. Would you just say something about yourself so that the audience might be able to know who they are going to talk to today? Something that you have done, your passions and stuff like that.
Of course.
Mm,
Hi, everyone. My name is Elena Pastore, and I am a people development strategist. So
mhm,
I focus on leadership and career coaching, and I'm really passionate about helping people figure out what it is that they love and also understand how to talk about it on
mhm,
their resume and then also executing it in their job.
mhm. Okay, so that's really awesome. So, like, we're living in a world where there are a lot of different views, perspectives, and issues of feminism come into play. So, how does that affect the leadership process when you think of it as a woman, as a lady, whereby you want to do certain stuff, but people usually look at that as feminism? What's to say about it?
So, yeah, the I think a lot of people get confused a little bit about what feminism means.
Mhm,
So, feminism by definition just means that men and women should have equal rights and equal access to the same things or treated equally, right? So,
mhm,
feminism doesn't necessarily mean women are better or women, deserve more or anything like that. It's really just about
mhm,
equality in opportunities, choices, everything like that. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely do think that feminism, I think, is important for everyone. I
mhm,
think in this day and age, we've all come a long way, and I think that women should be given the same opportunities as men, even though I'm sure you've seen studies, and the
mhm,
viewers have seen studies about how there are still gaps that exist between men that are leaders. There
mhm,
are far more men that are leaders than women that have a lot of those top positions, but I think there's been a lot of growth over time
mhm.
in women, making more of a stand, I
Progress.
guess, and getting some of those positions. So I think it just takes time, but it's just
Mhm.
all about equality. So I definitely support that.
Wow, that's really amazing. So, after having a look at some of your work, like your profile, I saw some like you were in some universities or some sort where you were trying to do some kind of mentorship programs. Now, with your own experience, how do you think many youths out there are adequately getting involved in preparing to be good leaders of the future? Do you think we are doing enough, or there is much work to be done as of now?
Yeah. So obviously, I'm going to say that I think more can be done because that's what I do. But,
Yeah.
I have seen and worked with a lot of really impressive young people that are doing great things. And even when I was a student and
Mm,
in certain groups or, put in front of adults for whatever reason, and sometimes the adults would say, "Oh, I'm impressed with what you guys have done," or,
mm,
"Oh, you're so hardworking," or, being a part of some groups that have had interactions with adults.
yeah. Mm,
So I definitely think, a lot of youth people aren't getting given enough credit
mm,
for what they are capable of. But
mm,
aside from that, a lot of youths are given leadership opportunities,
mm,
the ability to, whether it's, in high school applying to be a leader on a club at high school or, in college and doing other involvement things. So I think
mhm,
there are opportunities to get leadership experience, but usually people don't train on leadership. They just train
mm.
you on what the position needs to do.
Wow.
They train you on the subject of the position, but not how to be a leader
Mm,
when you are conducting the tasks that that position needs to do, if that makes sense.
mhm,
So
mhm.
great opportunities, but not always the training to succeed. Usually you learn as you go, which is good too, but I definitely think more training up front would be very helpful.
So, according to your explanation, are you indirectly saying that many students or the school system or the education system, in short, has been outlined to actually train people to work for leaders and not to actually be leaders?
Um, I don't necessarily think that schools are training people to work for leaders and not be leaders themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because when this group of leaders that's, running the country and the world
Yeah.
retires or quits, moves on, then people have to step up and be leaders. So I just think, I don't think it's that schools are teaching people to be followers. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely don't think that that's the case. I just think that isn't there's not really many ways that schools teach students to be leaders. And I'm not saying that no school does that. I'm just saying I think there are a lot of opportunities to put some type of training or workshop or things in place when
Yeah.
that there's a gap, if that
Ah, okay,
kind of
okay.
helps clarify it a little bit.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because, like, currently, the whole issue surrounding the leadership thing is that many youths out there, or many people feel that they are not, how can I put it? They are not perfect enough to lead. So now the problem that comes in is there's an issue of self-esteem, there's an issue of confidence. So now how do you reach a point whereby you feel that you're able to, because if a leader is not confident, then everything is messed up. So how do you reach
Mhm.
that? I'm curious to hear your view on how you reach the point where you are confident enough, because when you're leadership, when you're confident enough, your decisions also become meaningful. So how do you reach that balance according to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And a few things come to mind for me. So, one of the first things that you just said was people think they're not perfect enough or not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where the first problem is
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because no leader is perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you think of a leader who might, when asked a question, a leader who might give you an answer that's maybe not totally accurate or correct, but they feel like they want to know the answer and tell you something, but then they
Mm.
end up being wrong.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of imperfection there, but also you want to have the leader that instead of feeling pressure to tell you an answer, they say, I don't know, or I need to get back to you, or I'm not sure about that just yet. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
people, the leaders that are willing to admit they don't know or don't have all the answers,
Mm-hmm.
I think are more respected because, we're all human. And I think that goes back to you don't have to be perfect to be a leader. You just have to understand what your people need and how to be what they need to them. The second part of it is I think when you realize you don't have to be perfect, you just have to care and you have to do your
Mm-hmm.
best. And knowing that you don't have to be perfect, you just have to, like I said, do what you can. I
What?
think that will give people more comfort and more confidence and self esteem to say, okay, I'm qualified the way I am, or I'm good enough the way I am. And of course, like I said, learning from maybe mentors or other peers and doing things to make yourself a good leader, but also knowing that you don't have to be perfect and
Mm.
that be confident in your ability,
Abilities, yeah.
right? And know that you can take care of conflicts as they arise because you
Wow.
can't prepare for the unknown.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because the challenge that comes in is when a leader is approached by someone, they want to look at a situation and express their opinion that they know what they are doing.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
really want to be looked at as someone who doesn't know what they're doing. And
Right.
quest of doing that, they end up making mistakes.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that's like it's really enlightening because it puts a person in a position whereby, according to the way I've put it, it means that as a leader, you should see it to be right, not to know. Not
Mm-hmm.
trying to look at it like you know everything.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your take when how do you now reach the point whereby you just have that ability to listen? Because people are like leaders are born, people are like leaders are naturally just like that. And this whole concept makes it look so difficult. Like we just have this special class of people that
Mm-hmm.
leaders, while the other class of people can just be like followers. So
Mm-hmm.
can anybody be a leader? Or is it that just a group of people can be leaders?
Yeah, this is obviously another big conversation or topic, I should say. So first off,
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that some people are naturally, or some people naturally have tendencies of a leader more so than others. So
Mm-hmm.
some people are just naturally better at leading a group than others. And I think that that's one thing that a lot of people can probably agree on. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just like anything else, you know? Someone might naturally be a great basketball player or naturally be a great piano player or
Mm-hmm.
naturally be a great cook,
Yeah.
you know? But that doesn't mean that no one else can be a good cook or be a good basketball player if they don't practice and learn the steps, learn the
Yes.
tricks,
Yes.
and, work at it. So I think leadership is the same way. It's just a little bit more complicated since um, there are a lot of different ways to lead. There's not a right way and a wrong way,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to, when you're cooking, sure,
Mm-hmm.
there are multiple ways to cook, but you don't want to cook something that tastes bad, of course.
Yeah.
So I think that anyone can work at it, just like anyone can work at any other skill and be good at it.
Oh.
Um, was there a second part to your question?
The other part was how you reach a point whereby you don't feel like, for instance, I was the second part was how, for instance, I am a leader. Then the thing is that when I'm a leader, I don't want to let people feel like intimidated by always thinking that I'm right. So the other part was how do you make it seem to other people to say you are able to listen as a leader, not just like you put it trying to
Right.
always look right.
Okay, thank you. I lost my train of thought because I was,
Uh,
yeah. Okay, so the second part about the natural born leader thing is even if you are a natural born leader, you don't just wake up and you know everything there is to know. You're
yeah,
not just
yeah,
born and you know everything, right? We all
mm,
know nothing when we're a baby and we learn everything as we
yeah,
experience life. So, the important thing is to know when you need to be a follower versus when you need to be a leader.
mm,
So
mm,
everyone needs to be a follower at some point because
very, very true.
you're not just born and you know everything, like I said.
Yeah.
So I think in those situations where you don't know the answer, or like I said, you're not qualified, maybe give an answer, and things like that, it's important to know when maybe someone else should step up. And as
Mm,
a leader, it's okay to say, oh, you know what? This person is actually more equipped to lead this discussion or to
yeah.
guide us through whatever it is.
Mm,
But then there are times that you need to be the leader. And I
yes.
think it's important to just recognize that because you are always learning from other people. And there are
Very.
always going to be things that someone knows that you don't know,
I don't know
and
that.
things that other people don't know that you know.
Mm,
Um, and I think sometimes ego gets in the way because you want to feel like you don't need other people, but at the end of the day, we do need each other.
yeah.
Um,
Oh,
so
that's really interesting. So, according to yourself, there's one interesting part. You've mentioned the part of mentors. So, you are someone who, I'm sure, not someone who is very, very old. You know what I mean? You are still someone energetic. You are still uh, out there having that dream to still inspire other people.
mhm.
Now, have you had mentors that you have looked up to say, I have this person that I'm always looking up to, or you have just set your own belief systems and said, I'm going to do this? And what's your take on mentors? Should someone have mentors, or they should just be able to stick to their own belief system, or what?
I think you can have your own belief system and still have mentors. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have a lot of mentors that have helped me in different parts of my life for different things.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And I actually did, when I was a senior in college, I actually did a presentation to freshmen in college about mentorship and the importance of mentors and different ways to find mentors. And but I do believe that I can still keep my same beliefs, theories, and things like that, and have mentors that maybe think differently, but that they can advise me and help me in whatever area it is that they're an expert in or I'm asking them for help with. So I think it's important to have personal mentors
Yeah.
for, personal life, professional mentors that have maybe done what you want to do in their career,
Mm-hmm.
um, and having them to help with that aspect. But I also think you can have mentors or find mentorship in um, in other ways besides a human relationship.
Mm.
So um,
What do you mean? I'm curious to understand. What do you mean when you say that?
books,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of us have. I used to be a lot bigger on reading. I wish I could get into it more now, but I get so distracted. But some people have favorite authors that I think they would
Yeah.
consider they'd consider series or books by certain authors a form of mentorship. Same with podcasts.
Yeah.
If someone always listens to your podcast every episode, they could consider your podcast being a type of mentorship
Yeah.
to
Mm.
them. So it doesn't have to be someone you personally know. Um, I think that you can mentors are really important, and you should seek one out, whether it's someone you can physically have a relationship with or just someone you gain knowledge from kind of one
Mm.
way, like a book or a podcast or something.
So you have mentioned something that's really interesting. Like we're living in a time where we have a lot of data around. We have got a lot of information. Now, I'm imagining myself, or I put myself in someone who might be thinking as I'm thinking, to say
Mhm.
I out there wanting to find information. I'll find a million podcasts.
Mhm.
I'll find a million influencers. Now, how do you as a leader have to choose? How do you reach the selection to say, I think I'll settle for this? Because there are people who are like, I've heard people say that if you have a mentor, you'll be like, you can't rise above them. So some people will be like, I don't want to have a mentor because I feel like I'm not going to rise above this person. So they choose to like do their own stuff and stuff like that. So in a world where I've got all this information, all these people who seem like they are doing great stuff, some that are even out there giving testimonials that are not actually true. So how do you effectively choose, or how do you effectively pick that I'm going to follow this as a leader who wants to really make effective change?
Hmm. It's definitely hard if you don't already have someone or something that you stumble upon.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
For me, my human mentors have been people that I've just met in my life that I've looked up to and admired and have had, you know, certain milestones and accomplishments in their careers that I
mm,
want to model, if that makes sense. So, my personal mentors have been people that I've just met and just have had those relationships with over time. As
mm,
far as, and I mean, of course, you can also ask friends or, ask friends if they have mentors or ask friends for recommendations for any of those podcasts or books or anything like that.
mm,
People with similar interests to you or interests in whichever area you're looking for. So, again, if you are a marathon runner,
yeah.
that could be a personal mentor. And then if you, let's say are also an engineer, then you could have another mentor that's an engineer. So asking the right people in those right groups.
Mm,
But it is hard to kind of filter through everything that's out there and you know, know what is fit for you. So
Mm-hmm.
I think asking other people is always one of the best ways because people are always willing to share things that have positively impacted them.
Them, yeah, that's very true.
And yeah, just kind of I guess surfing the web and trying out a bunch of things and seeing what you gravitate towards and just kind of filter through by trial and error, but it is
Wow.
hard to break through the noise.
So, I'm now having a second question. Is it possible to have a mentor without communicating with them on a personal level? Is that person, can that person be called a mentor or maybe an inspiration? I want to understand the difference maybe between someone who would be your mentor or someone who would be your inspiration. Because when I think of the words mentor, I'm looking at someone who would be like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to follow this. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know what's the distinction between the two.
Okay. I think a lot of people would answer that differently,
Mm-hmm.
and not everyone would probably agree with what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people can still, for lack of a better word, tell you what to do or give you advice
Mm-hmm.
and say, oh, you should do this or you should do that without them speaking to you specifically, but
Mm-hmm.
rather speaking to you as part of a greater audience. And I think that's where the books, the podcasts, the videos, the you know, YouTube, YouTubers and things like that come in.
Wow.
So I'll give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of Gary Vaynerchuk?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. A lot of people either love him or they hate him. So personally, I love him.
Yeah.
And I used to listen to his podcast every day for a period of a few months, every single day.
Uh,
And his Instagram, I've consumed a lot of his content.
yeah.
And he's a person that says, "Oh, you should do this or you should do that or you should da 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 da." And I've done a lot of the stuff that he has said. He's not speaking to me, Elena. He's speaking to whoever's listening,
Wow,
but
yeah.
it's still things that I've learned or I've done because of him and not because of anyone else?
Mm-hmm.
So I do think having a human, again, a person you can speak to as a mentor is great, and everyone should have that. But I think you also shouldn't lose out on consuming advice and tips and mentorship from
Yeah.
avenues like that.
So now talking about, I'm now curious again, talking about your work. You have worked, I'm sure you have done this for how many years roughly have you done like the mentorship? When did you have this passion to focus on this? Like when did you really just realize, "Say, I think my focus will be on leadership, personal development." When did you just think about that? Were you inspired by a mentor or was it just something that started a long time?
I never really knew what I wanted to do, but it was, I think, the beginning of my senior year of college, which
Mm-hmm.
was 3 years ago,
Wow.
not that long ago, that I realized people did stuff like this as a job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in college, I served as a mentor to a lot of students. I helped a lot of students with their leadership and building their career path. And I always helped other younger students, but I didn't really think it could be a job or it could be more formalized. So when I realized, okay, yeah, I could do this, it
Wow.
was about my senior year of college. But so I've been doing it really since my freshman year of college, which was 2015. Um, and then obviously formally as a career for the past 2 years. So
Mm-hmm. Wow.
yeah.
So do you think choosing a wrong career path, because you have mentioned career, do you think choosing a wrong career path affects your ability to lead?
Hmm,
What's on that?
that's a great question. I've never thought about that before, but I will say I think it takes people a long time
Mm-hmm.
before they realize they chose a path that's not the best for them. I
What?
think
Wow.
Huh?
What do you mean by that?
At least in my experience with either my own clients that I've had or friends
Mm-hmm.
taking jobs, there's so many different jobs out there that people can have,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
in school, you are taught teacher, lawyer, um, engineer, and you don't really go much deeper than that when you're taught in school.
yeah.
So I think a lot of people don't realize how many possibilities there are out there, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it takes the experience of doing the job to really know whether it's the right fit or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily think that people are lesser leaders if they're on the wrong career path.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that over time, when you do start to realize it's not the right fit, you
Mm-hmm.
start to lose motivation, you start to lose drive,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think that that starts to show over time, which then impacts your ability to lead, because if you're not in it, if you're not in the game, people will be able to see that
It's
over time.
very true, very true. Because I see a lot of frustrated individuals who want to make it seem like they love what they are doing, but by the way they do stuff, you can see that this person is frustrated, not happy, and it affects everything. It affects the people they are leading, it affects the work they are doing. So it's something that really hit my mind when you mentioned the issue of career and leadership, because there are a lot of people out there, I'm sure, that have this in their lives that is happening right now. They are leaders in a company, in a business, but they don't actually love what they are doing. So now, how did you, in your during your path, during your leadership journey or your career path and personal development, how did you manage? Because look, I find it's really difficult sometimes for ladies to be able to speak out, to be able to influence people. So how did you manage? Because I'm sure there might be some young ladies out there that might be hearing to this and they may be inspired by you, like in a very big margin. So how did you manage to gather the confidence to still be able to put yourself out there despite the voices, despite the whole issues of feminism and all that? How did you just manage to rise above that?
Do you mean growing up or starting my own business or right now, today? What do
Like
you which
regards
part?
to- with regards to you as a person and with you as you're starting your own business and doing your own stuff.
Okay, so I guess I'll answer it kind of overall.
Yes.
Um, so I don't know, growing, or I guess I should say in high school and college, I guess high school would have been the age where you really start to think about, am I are people going to think I'm not as good of a leader because I'm a girl?
Mm-hmm,
I never felt that people thought that I wouldn't be good enough because I'm a girl.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um, in high school or college, I never, or when I was in leadership positions, I never felt like boys or men didn't respect me. Like I always felt respected when I was in a position to be respected, and I always felt like I was given equal chances. So I never felt like being a female was a negative thing.
wow.
I can't speak for all females, but for me, at least, I think I always felt equal. So I guess I sort of started off feeling good about it. Like I never considered, or I never felt uncomfortable about that part of it. But, as far as everything else,
Mm-hmm.
I've always been an advocate in believing that everyone can find a job that they enjoy.
Wow.
People that say they hate their job, or they can't wait until Friday, and they hate Monday, and then they hate every other day. It just seems like everyone everyone says the same thing about hating,
Yeah.
and I don't know where I got that. I've never thought about, I don't know where that came from, but I've always felt no matter what you do,
Mm,
especially in the 21st century with access to the internet, like you said before,
yes. Yes.
you can make money doing anything. People make money
Yeah.
playing video games,
Mm.
you know? Um, I think a lot of the issue is that people either think they can't, they have self-doubt.
Mm,
So yeah, to be honest, I don't know where it came from, but I have just always felt that you can love your job, you can
mm,
do really well at it, and you don't have to hate it's so I want people to find what it is that they love, because I know way more people that either hate or don't like their jobs than people that love their jobs.
mm,
And then, like I said, once you get in that job, okay, well, now what? Now, how do I make sure my day to day job, even if I have the tasks that I love, how do I create good relationships with my boss and my
yeah.
team so that even if the work is great, I don't want the rest of it to be sucky, you know?
Mm,
And I think it's possible for everyone, and I feel so strongly about that. And again, I don't know where that came from, that mindset came from, but that's why I just felt, I think, so compelled to start doing what I'm doing, because I
yes.
feel so strongly about that. And I guess my belief, like we said before, my belief is so strong that I didn't think I would fail, I
Well,
guess. So that's how I just had the confidence to do it.
so I've got one more important question. I think this might help someone. You have mentioned the whole concept whereby you are compelled to do that. You had this like internal belief. Now, there are a lot of people out there that have these motivational speakers talk about the issues of purpose, passion. So a lot of people out there have this in their mind to say, I'm supposed to find my passion, my purpose. And they are always out there searching, like, and they feel like they are not satisfied. So now I want to hear your ultimate comment or view on this. Should you really, really search for passion or purpose? Or should you just do what you feel like doing? Then maybe in the quest of doing that, then you find your passion or your purpose.
I think there's no right way. There is not a specific way that you have to go about it. I think whatever feels right to you. And of course, some people have certain circumstances to where, they might have to take a job they don't like, or they might have to, care for their family, or there's a lot of other factors that go into this other than just stop everything. And if you want to cook for a living, open a, restaurant. Obviously, it's not
Yes.
that simple. So I don't want to sound like I'm painting this unrealistic reality. I think the journey that everyone will take to get there depends on, again, that your everyone's individual set of circumstances, but I
Mm-hmm.
do think it's possible. So whether you do just go on this journey to find your purpose and your passion, whatever that looks like for you, or whether you're in another job that you don't like, but you're actively searching for something else, or searching, for a better situation. Um, there's no right or wrong way to go about it, but I do think it's possible for everyone to find. And then it's just people get very self-conscious about, well, my experience in my career is in this, so I can't do that. I don't have any experience in that.
Yeah.
But if you love it enough, at least I feel like if you love it enough,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna do well at something you love because you care about it,
Wow.
you know?
Mm.
And, again, I think there's a way for everyone, regardless of circumstance, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of everything. I think everyone can find a job they love and be really happy. It just might take more time for some than others, but I think there's always a way.
Wow. That's like really enlightening. I've gotten a lot of points just from those.
Good, good. And
So
might
yeah.
I just add,
Uh-huh.
I have never felt more insecure in my life than starting a business and trying to sell everything myself. It's very tough. And I'm
Wow.
not saying people need to go out and start their own business, but I'm saying the process of finding and executing what you love, it's not necessarily going to be easy,
Easy, yeah. Yeah.
but it's the point is that it's possible. It's not always going to be a walk in the park. So I just
So
wanted to add that.
it's you're saying that you just have to go beyond your insecurities of feeling that I can't do this, because a lot of people have this in their head and they are looking for the perfect time to do something. Oh,
Exactly.
so I remain with about 4 minutes now. I'm curious to hear your conclusions, like your final remarks with the whole concept of leadership, what you really want us to take off from this conversation, like things that you're just feeling right now, like you feel like sharing, to
Mhm.
just and share with us.
Hmm. Well, what you just said, don't wait for the right time.
Mm-hmm.
There will be better or worse times, but if you wait for the right time, you'll be waiting forever. And that's
Mm,
for anything, whether it's related to your professional life or something you've been wanting to do personally.
mm,
Um, and I guess just believe that you don't have to. And again, this isn't to everyone, but for people that are in jobs or in
yeah.
situations they don't like, don't
Mhm.
feel like you have to suffer.
Wow.
Um, and
What do you mean when you say don't feel like you have to suffer? Maybe someone might not really get that. Like, would you just try to explain a bit on that?
I think some people
Mm-hmm.
think that success
Mm-hmm.
can only be achieved through a struggle.
Wow.
Or if you want to get something really good, whether
Mm,
it's a promotion or, you know, landing a project or whatever it is, that you have to work so hard or that you
mm.
have to struggle and go
Struggle.
through hardship in
Yeah.
order to get that good thing.
Mm,
That you it's not that you're not worthy of it if it wasn't hard, or you're not, you know, you need to go through toughness in order to get something good. And that's true in some cases, and I don't think you should mistake hard work for
mm-hmm.
suffering or struggling. But I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people limit or prohibit themselves or make themselves go through more, again,
Hardships.
because they think they have to struggle to get something really
Mm-hmm.
positive.
Wow.
Um, so and yeah, the last thing, self-awareness is huge.
Mm,
Again, if you are trying to capitalize on your skills at work,
yeah.
really think to the core of why you like what you like.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, also sharing that with those you work with so that they can help you grow and improve more into those things that you like.
Wow.
And then it'll be better for everyone. You'll be happier, you'll be more productive, you know,
Mm.
and
That's very
it's
true.
all great.
So someone out there might be wondering, how do I reach Elena? How can people be able to reach you? Maybe someone might be here and thinking like, I want her to be my mentor. She just talked about mentorship. How can they be
Yeah.
able to reach you? Like, how can they be able to read about your work, what you've done, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, so my email, excuse me, it's Elena at elenapastori.com,
Mm,
which I can give that to you. My
sure.
LinkedIn, which is just Elena Pastori, and my
Mm.
website, elenapastori.com.
Wow. So
So
simplified.
pretty easy, pretty easy. But yeah, I can send you that information so people can have that. And yeah, I would love to chat with anyone that's interested in, you know, group leadership work, individual leadership work, and career work. So
So
any of the above.
Instagram, you don't have your Instagram?
I have not. I That's been on my list for a while. I don't have a or a company Instagram. I just have a personal Instagram.
Ah, okay.
Um, so the business Instagram will be to come, and I will definitely have lots of great tips on there once I make that account.
All right. Awesome. I'm really excited that we heard you, and I'm sure the audience will be really glad to hear your awesome
Yeah.
tips and everything that you have mentioned today. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I hope we'll have more better discussions further on in the future, and it was nice to have you.
Yeah, it was great. I am very impressed with the questions you asked. They were very
Mhm.
thought-provoking, so you made me think. But they were
Thank
great.
you
They were
very
great
much.
questions. Yeah.
All right, let me now can end.